Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. On this channel we post writing tips, unboxings, book hauls, book reviews and the occasional vlog. And today I have a writing tips video for you, and as it is February, we are going to discuss my top 10 tips on writing romance. If you guys haven't seen, I have done previous videos on romance with my top romance tropes and cliches. I'll pop those links above now if you want to continue on checking out romance writing for February this year. But these are my top 10 tips to write romance. Before we get into those, don't forget, if you like what you see, to subscribe to this channel. Your continued support means a lot, so thank you guys so much. Number 1. Avoid Insta romance. If you guys saw my romance cliches, tropes I absolutely hate in romance, Insta romance is one of those, and it is one that I found most people also hate. Now, this isn't everyone, so if you really love Insta romance, right away. However, you must make it believable. The problem with Insta romance is that it is instantaneous. Lust happens instantaneously. Romance does not. You want your characters to be believable, and therefore you want the romance to build between them. You want to show it happening, not just instant. This is one of the problems I had with the Pumpkin Spice Latte book, which I have a review coming out this October. That book is Insta all over it. The other issue with an Insta romance is you're writing a romance book. If you've instantly given the romance, you've given the entire plot and reason for the reader to read the book, so why else would they continue reading? The romance has already happened. Number 2. Not just looks. People are attracted to more than another person's appearance. If you are only attracted to someone's appearance, that is lust that you feel, and there's nothing wrong with that. You lust over who you want, and if you get the opportunity to, you get it on and have a great time. You don't need to know someone's personality sometimes to want to have sex with them. This is the realm of erotica. However, if you are writing a romance book, then it's about what's inside the person as well, not just what they look like. These people are building a relationship, not just a one-night stand. You also possibly want the looks to be a little bit believable. Yes, people read books to escape reality, and sometimes, of course, you want the character to be a little bit better than in real life. However, there is a time and a place for that, and sometimes you need the character to be at least a little bit realistic in order for the reader to believe that romance. Number 3. Common ground. Okay, there is some truth in opposites attract, in the idea of yin and yang, that a relationship completes the other person, that you both have strengths and weaknesses and you even each other out. However, you do need to have something in common. There has to be a reason you like this person, whether it's bonding over a hobby, whether you have the same political goals. You might have a goal to make an academic discovery. There should be a reason these two characters are involved and get to know each other to begin with. They cannot be complete polar opposites. Now, I know we have enemies to lovers, but the idea of enemies to lovers is that they are enemies who realize they don't need to be enemies. They realize the common ground. Number 4, friends. You cannot be romantically invested in someone without being friends. That is not a healthy relationship, and again, you're just delving into erotica, and there's nothing wrong with erotica or romantica. Write erotica or romantica. That stuff sells. But that is not a romance novel. Bear in mind the differences here. For readers to believe that your characters are in love, they need to have friendship in there. They should make each other better or even each other out, like I said previously with the yin and yang aspect of relationships. If you have an introverted character, the other person could be slightly more extroverted. If you have a well-organized character, the other person could be a bit more spontaneous. Opposites do attract, but they must get on. Number 5, love interest flaws. Your love interest cannot be the embodiment of perfection because it's not believable. Now again, yes, there is a time and a place for that larger than life character. Sometimes you don't read books to be completely realistic. However, there must be some aspect of realism. Someone cannot be perfect. Everyone is flawed, and often it is a person's flaws that we fall in love with. Number 6. Remember your audience, specifically their age. Writing romance, you must know the age of the people you're writing for. Now, this isn't to say that different ages cannot read a book that is older or younger for them. You read what you want. I'm not here to police what you are reading. However, there is a reason that books are separated by age in bookshops. It is so that, say you are a parent, you know what your child is picking up. Now, I'm not saying you should monitor what your child reads. That is up to parents. I am not a parent. But like trigger warnings in books, you should know what you're getting into. Now, if you're writing romance, you need to know what age you're writing for, because different ages have different levels of what romance you can show, particularly when it comes to intimacy, going deeper into the sex and physical romance between the characters. So just bear this in mind. The type of relationship your characters have has to be appropriate for the age that you are writing for, and also how they show their love as well. A child shows love through different ways than an adult might show love. There's also the maturity of that relationship. Young relationships are more often than not much more geared towards a fun friendship, and they just happen to be a very close friendship that like to hold hands. And then as you get older, that develops into you like to hug, develops into kissing, that develops into fooling around. It also means, say you are writing a young adult and you are going to have characters have sex, sometimes you show the build up and then you skip time. You don't have to write every detail. Like in adult romance, you don't have to show every detail. You go into erotica where it shows every little individual detail. Look at what you're writing for. And this leads into tip number 7. It does not always have to include sex. Now, there is nothing wrong with writing a romance with sex in it. Sex positivity, we are here for all that. However, you don't have to. Romance does not need to lead to sex, and this also comes into representation as well. You can have romantic novels about asexual characters. Asexuality means you do not show love or want love through sexual touch. It doesn't have to be there for you to love someone, and it doesn't have to be there for it to be a romantic relationship either. There is also, as I said previous, the reader's age you need to bear in mind with this. There's also triggers as well. There's many different reasons. And if you are going to include sex, make sure it is consensual. Erotica has stumbled in this quite often with the idea of consent. It must and should be consensual if you are going to include it. Number 8. Love types. Don't forget, there are many different love languages. There is physical love language. There is the idea of acts of service. There is the idea of spoken love. There is gift giving. There are so many different ways to show someone that you love them, and your characters might like a specific type of this romance. Also means your character may not be so comfortable with certain types of romance. For example, they might have physical touch boundaries for various reasons, and you should show this in the work. They might have people who don't like the idea of being given a gift. It might freak them out. It might make them feel in debt. There's many different ways people show it, and there's many different ways people perceive and receive love. So bear these in mind. It doesn't have to be the obvious way. Also, things like giving gifts. Some people don't like flowers, or if they do, they like them to be in a pot so the plant's still alive and doesn't die. There's different ways you can show this. Number 9, show, don't tell. Do not tell the reader about the romance, show it. Again, I know this video isn't out yet, but in October, you'll see what I mean. This Pumpkin Spice Cafe, it tells you everything. That book is so littered with introspective that it's ridiculous. It doesn't show you a romance building, it just tells you how hot they think the other person is and tells you about how they want them all the time. You should be able to see this. Show it through actions, show it through sweaty palms, show it through a lingering gaze. Don't tell us, show it, make it real. And finally, number 10, dialogue. You talk to people differently dependent on your relationship with that person. For example, if you are in a romantic relationship, you likely call your partner pet names like babe. You probably don't call your friends that. You might still have pet names for them, but maybe not like that. You also probably talk about deeper emotions with the person you're in a romantic relationship with, which you might not talk about with certain people. You speak differently when you're with your family, with your friends, with your colleagues. People aren't always an open book. Now, there are people like me who often are an open book and honestly forget to tone it down. But even I have said things I wouldn't talk about with certain people, and I really struggle with boundaries of what comes out of my mouth. Most people do have these things, and bear that in mind. It's a way to show the romantic relationship without telling about it, just by the words they use. You can even have them let slip a babe or something in there when they're not meant to. And that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you found these tips useful. If you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. If you'd like to see as soon as I upload, click that little bell down below. You can also follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Tumblr. I post bookish pictures as well as writing tips and unboxings on there. And thanks for watching, guys. Bye!